What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media. Outside of Gillette Stadium as the Patriots just put pen to paper with wide receiver Stefon Diggs on a 3-year, $69 million contract, 26 of which is guaranteed. And New England and Drake Maye now have their wide receiver number one. Stefon Diggs coming off an ACL tear last year with Houston, but did say that he was asked when he plans to get on the field. He said, shit, when the whistle blows. So we'll see if he can actually make it happen. But overall, good vibes here in Foxboro. Taylor, what were your first impressions of hearing from Stefon Diggs today in Gillette Stadium?
Well, one, when you mentioned the injury, I like that he did try to make sure that everybody didn't set their expectations too high. He did mention there's a rehab process, and he doesn't want to go too hard
Taking
in
it
that.
day by day.
Exactly, and he wants to stay ahead of schedule. So, you can go one way in this recovery process where you do too much and end up setting yourself back after making progress. So it sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders about the situation. And Diggs was also asked, what are you going to bring to the Patriots? And one, obviously, there's that proven production, but I like that he mentioned, one, he wanted to join a team that was on the right trajectory. Mentioned Mike Vrabel, his unique perspective as a guy who's been a player, so may not have some of the hangups that you get with career coaches where there's not as much perspective on what it's like on the other side of those white lines. So there's that, but also he wants to mentor this young wide receiver room. And I'm sure that was one of the main sticking points in their conversations. Even if Javon Baker, a guy who didn't do much of anything last season, if he doesn't pan out, right, he was a 4th-round pick. Jalen Polk was a 2nd-rounder. You are not giving up on him despite the struggles he had after starting off pretty positively. So now Stefon Diggs can be that guy where, like he said, sometimes it isn't necessarily your time, but when things get low, Diggs wants to use his experience to try to help build those guys up. So, one, the impact on the receiver room, not only teaching them how to be professionals, but obviously the impact in route running and all the technique things, and also Drake Maye.
Of course.
Where Diggs, he's heard that Drake Maye is this guy who's very similar to Josh Allen. Mentioned, like, Diggs and the Texans were here in Gillette last year, mentioned he's a really fiery competitor, and he's looking forward to exploiting Drake Maye's strengths as a scrambler and all of those things, and obviously bringing him along, similar to how he did with Josh Allen and C.J. Stroud.
Thought that was really interesting, him saying that what he's heard, at least through the grapevine, is that Allen and Maye sort of have the same personality. Obviously, same skill set, fast player, rocket arms, all that jazz. And as soon as he got to Buffalo, Allen threw the most passing yards and the most passing touchdowns in a season in that 2020 year. Diggs led the league in receptions and yards as well. Now, granted, this is 5 years later, coming off the knee, so let's temper expectations. But overall, feels like a good pairing for someone in Drake Maye who's desperately looking for that wide receiver one. Diggs has also been someone who's kind of been known to be fiery, sometimes a diva. You've seen him going back and forth with Josh Allen a couple times on the sideline, but he did address those rumors today. What did you make of those comments from Diggs?
I mean, great first impression in front of the media. He was very cordial, very respectful with us, so that was nice. But also I like that he acknowledged that earlier in his career, similar to what we actually heard from Mac Hollins, he was very competitive, but sometimes didn't know exactly how to scale that back or turn it off. Where, if you are a hyper-competitive guy, that's fantastic, but with anything, there's a time and a place, and it sounds like Diggs has learned, sometimes I maybe shouldn't do that in this particular situation, but very self-aware, mentioned that he's not really concerned with targets. Like, if he's healthy, he knows the production's going to come, but I do like that he's coming into this with the right mindset of, like, first of all, this is an offense where he could be the number one target, but also one where, he mentioned how you maybe work with different people and how quarterbacks sometimes, like, you can't really take an abrasive approach. Sometimes you need to show them a little more love. So knowing how to mentor each individual person and understanding his role as a leader and someone who, sure, he's a mercurial personality, but also someone who's been a multi-time captain, is the highest paid player in that receiver room, one of the highest paid players on the field. So what he does, other guys are going to fall in line with. It seems like he's prepared for that and is going to do a pretty good job.
Exciting times here in Foxboro as the Patriots officially signed Stefon Diggs to a 3-year, $69 million contract, 26 of which is guaranteed. Keep it here on Patriots Press Pass. Taylor just released a Stefon Diggs film review. That is free to everyone on the channel. Gives you a nice sneak peek on what you can get on our membership here on Patriots Press Pass. So again, rate, review, and subscribe. Like this video, comment, do all that good stuff. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. If you want to get in on the action with us, head over there. Use code CLNS. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.